Welcome back to Riding Bikes in San Diego. We are at the top of the 15 bike path that goes from Camino del Rio South to Adams Avenue. And it's a handy bike path to take. It's a handy option, protected and not a bad climb. But when I got to the top, I didn't want to take Adams Avenue because there's no bike infrastructure on Adams Avenue whatsoever. So the light happened to be green after I took a sip of water back there, and I'm able to make it through this barrier. Going through a barrier, I'm still in Kensington over here on the other side of the 15 freeway, but I went through that barrier thinking, you know, there's a reason we have these. They slow traffic down, they stop drivers from cutting through places, and they're really effective. This road is quiet because someone cannot take it and access Adams Avenue with their car. They put that barrier up at the parking lot. Pedestrians can get through, people walking dogs, people with strollers, people in other mobility devices, and most importantly, people on bicycles. And then we get into the neighborhood here, and it's so quiet. And I think part of why it's so quiet is just because of barriers. Now, we're riding on the side of the 15, and I think it's important to note here, and maybe I could put a link in the description below. There's actually supposed to be a cap on the 15. When this freeway was initially built, it was built to accommodate a cover. And at the last minute, the city council member at the time, John Hartley, turned his back on the people of the community, sided with some rich people over in this neighborhood who were afraid that, quote, the riffraff were going to come over from Normal Heights into Kensington. And so we have a wound, we have a giant gash in the neighborhood that will really never heal. But there could have been a cap on this, there could have been a cover, there could have been land connecting these things, but instead we get this little bridge on Monroe that goes over. And I actually do kind of like this bridge for access, but I wish that the entire freeway were covered, that all the noise from this freeway was muffled under a tunnel, and that there was green space on it, or any number of other things. When you get out here, there are more barriers. This is Boundary, or rather 40th, and on 40th there are barriers from Ward Canyon Park all the way down to Mead and actually to El Cajon Boulevard, specifically to stop traffic. And we're going to take Mead across today. We did Mead over in North Park last week, but today we're riding west. And there's really nothing special about this road except for the fact that it is light on stop signs, and it's also light on traffic. It's light on traffic, like I'm saying, because it doesn't connect all the way through. Even when we get to the west end of this, it stops at another freeway, and there's no bridge over that one. It just, dead ends over at Iowa Street. But it's really pleasant to ride on as long as drivers aren't present. There's a driver coming up behind me right now, and you see drivers routinely just go on to the other side of the road into opposing traffic. If somebody had been coming up this road and intended to make a right, would have gone right into this little SUV thing. And I know folks are gonna give me a hard time about the stop sign. The driver didn't stop at the stop sign either, but I'm not faulting them for that. There's nobody there. We have the right of way. There's really nobody here. It's one of the things that makes this road safe. And speaking of being safe, just a few nights before we're riding here, there was a meeting of the North Park Community Plan. That person said, "You go ahead." And I said, "No, it's cool, you go ahead." There was a meeting of the North Park Community Planning Group, and they were discussing bicycle safety in Normal Heights. And when I stood up to speak, I told the crowd that we are only as safe as drivers decide we're going to be safe. We're at the whims of the temperament of drivers. And I believe that, everything is safe when there's no driver around. Any road is safe when there isn't somebody in a car moving it around very quickly. I think that that's something worth keeping in mind. Someone might be watching this video and thinking, oh, this looks like a fine place to bike. But it's a road with no markings whatsoever. It's a little tight with parking. I mean, there's plenty of room for two cars to get through as long as people are parked on the curb. But For somebody riding a bicycle, it's great until a driver comes around and decides that where they have to go is more important than where somebody else has to go. It's something worth keeping in mind. And I'm only riding this because I don't intend to stop anywhere on Adams Avenue, and I don't want to deal with the traffic. As you can see, it's about 4:30 in the afternoon that I'm riding this, and there's rush hour traffic. People are starting to move around. People are starting to try to get where they need to go, and it cuts through and over those freeways. So one of my ideas to slow Adams Avenue is to possibly put some sort of barrier up on Adams Avenue so that drivers can't go all the way through on it. But I know that that would be an unpopular opinion, and it's a total long shot. And then we'd have a bus to contend with, and how is the bus going to get through? And I think that retractable bollards can be great, but those are expensive, and the city doesn't even want to pay for bollards on the side of a bike lane, so why would they pay for something retractable that can allow a bus to go through? It's a big mess. There's a lot of conflicting priorities as we think about how to make the neighborhood safer, but make no mistake, we are only as safe as the driver behind us will let us be. Luckily, that driver behind me is being patient and they turned off. So sometimes it's not about us riding a bike at all, it's just about the fact that the driver doesn't feel like they're going to need to muscle around to the next stop sign or red light or something like that. We're over here now towards 33rd Street, and that's where we're going to end it. I appreciate you coming with me, but let's try to make our roads safe and drive less and ride a bike. Thanks.